The gut health industry is a $50 billion trap. You're buying $60 probiotics, yet your digestion is still failing. But look at this. A 102-year-old farmer in the Alps never had a bloated day in his life. His secret? Item number 5 on this list. It costs $0, it's technically spoiled food, and it creates a gut of steel. Today, as a doctor, I'm revealing the 7 forgotten gut steel staples that rebuilt the human digestive system from the rubble. Let's look at the pot. Meal 1. The horseradish. Reset the mucus clearer. In the cold, damp workshops of the 19th century Industrial Revolution, workers faced constant respiratory and digestive congestion. They lived in smog and ate heavy, greasy rations. Their survival secret wasn't a pill, it was the horseradish mash. They would grate this pungent root into a bowl of boiled potatoes or spread it over crusts of black bread. As a doctor, when I look at horseradish, I see a biological dynamite. It contains high concentrations of glucosinolates, compounds that trigger the production of enzymes in the liver and the gut. But its primary power is in the sinuses and the stomach lining. It thins the mucus that clogs the digestive tract, allowing nutrients to be absorbed instead of trapped. One 96-year-old veteran told me that during the hardest winters, a spoonful of this fire root was the only thing that kept his digestion moving. While modern patients reach for antacids that shut down stomach acid, our ancestors used horseradish to ignite it. It ensures that proteins are broken down completely, preventing the fermentation and gas that characterize the modern weak gut. This 20-cent root is a masterclass in digestive momentum. It is the mucus clearer that allowed a generation to breathe and digest in conditions that would paralyze a modern body. Meal 2. The salted lemon water, the enzyme igniter. In the Mediterranean and North African shipping ports of the 1940s, sailors and dock workers lived on a strange famine tonic, preserved lemons in salt water. They would take a small piece of the rind and chew it before their main meal. To a doctor, this is enzymatic engineering. The fermentation process in the salt water breaks down the lemon peel, releasing hesperidin and diosmin, 2 flavonoids that strengthen the veins and the gut wall. But the real magic is in the pH. The acidity of the lemon, combined with the trace minerals of the salt, triggers the cephalic phase of digestion. It tells your pancreas to flood your small intestine with enzymes before the first bite of food even hits your tongue. We see people today suffering from low stomach acid because they are stressed and dehydrated. They can't digest a simple salad without pain. These dock workers, who often ate nothing but hard bread and salted fish, had gut steel because they used this 5-cent ritual to prime their internal furnace. It is a lesson in timing and chemistry. By honoring the enzyme igniter, they ensured that every calorie was turned into fuel, not waste. Meal 3. The cold porridge. Block. The butyrate engine. This is the direct cousin of the steelworkers meal that made our first video famous. In the highlands of Scotland and the farms of the Midwest, oatmeal wasn't just eaten hot. It was poured into a wooden drawer, allowed to cool and harden into a block, and then sliced and eaten cold days later. As a doctor, I call this the resistance secret. When you cook a starch and then cool it completely, its molecular structure changes. It becomes resistant starch type 3. This starch is invisible to your upper digestive tract. It travels all the way to your colon, where it becomes a feast for a bacteria called Faecalibacterium prausnitzii. These bacteria turn that cold porridge into butyrate. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that acts as the primary fuel for your colon cells. It heals the gut lining, stops leaky gut, and sends anti-inflammatory signals to your entire brain. The farmers who ate these oatmeal blocks didn't have colon polyps or inflammatory bowel disease. They were fueling their butyrate engine with a 10-cent staple. They were building a gut of steel by letting their food get cold, a simple act of patience that modern science is now desperate to replicate. Meal 4. The dandelion coffee. The Bile Flow Protocol. During the Great Depression, real coffee was a luxury that few could afford. People turned to the weed in their yard, the dandelion root. They dug it up, dried it, roasted it, and boiled it into a dark, bitter brew. Modern health gurus sell liver detox kits for $100. our ancestors got it for free. Dandelion root is the most powerful natural choleretic, meaning it forces the liver to produce and move bile. Bile is the body's natural soap. It emulsifies fats and kills pathogenic bacteria in the small intestine. In my practice, I see a bile stasis epidemic. People have sluggish livers because they never taste anything bitter. This leads to gallstones and small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. The survivors of the 1930s drank this weed coffee every morning. They were flushing their digestive pipes daily. They didn't have bloating because their bile flow was aggressive and constant. This famine coffee is the Bile Flow Protocol that kept a generation metabolically active and gut resilient when they had every reason to be sick. Meal 5. The clabbered milk, the original probiotic. Before the age of pasteurization and $60 probiotic bottles, there was clabber. On every farm, a jar of raw milk was left on the counter to naturally thicken and sour. This spoiled milk was eaten with a spoon, often topped with a bit of black pepper or honey. This is the $0 miracle. Clabber is a wild ferment, teeming with billions of lactobacillus and Saccharomyces, the very strains we now try to buy in plastic capsules. But because it is a whole food ferment, the bacteria are protected by the milk fats and proteins, allowing them to survive the acid of your stomach. One 102-year-old farmer I interviewed in the Alps told me he ate a bowl of sour milk every single day of his life. He never had an allergy, he never had an autoimmune issue, and his digestion was as reliable as a clock. He wasn't lucky. He was inoculating his gut daily with a wild living pharmacy. We have traded this clabber for sanitized dead milk, and we wonder why our immune systems are confused. This gut steel staple is the foundation of human immunity, and it was once as common as water. Meal 6. The beaten marrow, borscht, the blood and gut lining. In the industrial cities of Poland and Russia, workers relied on a deep red soup made of beets and the cheapest bones available. This wasn't a light soup. It was a dense, blood-building elixir. Beets are rich in betaine and nitrates. Nitrates relax the blood vessels in the gut, increasing oxygen delivery to the digestive tissues. But the secret was the bone marrow. Marrow is rich in alkylglycerols, compounds that support white blood cell production and heal the mucosal barrier of the gut. The gut steel generation knew that if your blood was weak, your stomach was weak. By combining the blood-building power of the beet with the barrier-healing power of the marrow, they created a meal that kept their energy high and their gut lining intact. I spoke with a woman who survived the hardest years of the 1940s on this soup. At age 94, she had no anemia and no digestive pain. She was a biological tank, fueled by 30 cents worth of roots and bones. This is the blood and gut synergy that modern nutrition has forgotten in favor of isolated vitamins. Finally, we have the most forgotten staple of all, the burnt crust. In the traditional ovens of the past, bread was often slightly charred on the bottom. Instead of cutting it off, the elders insisted on eating it. They even made a tea by soaking burnt toast in hot water. As a doctor, I see this as primitive activated charcoal. Carbon has a unique ability to absorb toxins and gases in the digestive tract. It acts like a biological magnet, pulling out the metabolic waste products of bad bacteria. During the famine years, when people were often forced to eat food that wasn't perfectly fresh, this charcoal crust was their insurance policy. It prevented food poisoning and settled the angry stomach. We now buy charcoal capsules for $20 at the pharmacy, forgetting that the burnt bit of the bread was our ancestors' way of keeping their internal environment clean. It is a humble, gritty reminder that survival isn't about perfect food. It's about knowing how to neutralize the bad. The $50 billion gut health industry doesn't want you to look at your kitchen scraps or your backyard weeds for answers. There is no profit in a charcoal crust, a dandelion root, or a bowl of cold porridge. They want you to believe that your digestion is a fragile, broken thing that only they can fix with their synthetic solutions. But the 102-year-old farmer and the 96-year-old veteran prove them wrong. They show us that the human gut is designed to be steel. It is designed to be resilient, powerful, and self-healing. If we give it the survival staples it craves. These 7 forgotten meals weren't just about getting by, they were about getting strong. My challenge to you is simple. This week, don't buy a probiotic. Make the horseradish mash. Try the cold porridge. Steep the dandelion root. Sit at your table, set a place for yourself, and eat it slowly. Feel the enzymes igniting. Feel the butyrate healing your colon. Feel the connection to the generations of humans who stood strong because they knew how to build a gut of steel from the simplest things. Your health is not a product. It is a heritage. These gut steel meals are the forgotten protocol of the most resilient humans to ever walk the earth. If this video spoke to the truth you've been looking for, subscribe to the channel. We are tired of the sick care system, and we are getting back to the roots. Share in the comments. Which of these survival staples did your grandparents use to stay strong? Because at Vaxalis, we believe the best health insurance is a gut made of steel. And I'll see you at the next pot. Thanks for watching.